There's something else going on here. Epstein was not some sort of whiz-kid hedge fund manager. Epstein was playing a part. Epstein was cast for a specific role. Epstein was a LARPer, and he played it really well.
So if you can have a guy that's in the audience that's yelling, I him, now me, and then that guy gets arrested for child charges.
I don't believe this kid right now could possibly be the
There's a lot of weird going on with it. I don't necessarily think they know what's going on yet. None of these things make any sense to me. This kid who's not military trained. This guy, first of all, how did he get to the roof? How come nobody was looking? There's a direct line of sight between where he's sitting and those roofs. You guys didn't check? You don't have a drone? Like, that's insane. So he's on the roof. He jumps from the roof. He jumps down 14 feet.
Nothing is a coincidence. Hold on to that thought. Did you know that Charlie Kirk's father, Robert W. Kirk, was actually the architect for Trump Towers? Did you know that Erica Lane Kirk won Miss Arizona USA in 2012? Donald Trump ran Miss America from 1996 until 2015. Seeing the correlation here? Now, not saying age difference is a big thing, but did you know Erica was 5 years Charlie Sr.? But this is where coincidences aren't coincidental. Well, this was so arranged. There's so much more to Erica Kirk. She was all into basketball, didn't want to be all girly, never liked to dress up, even cut all her hair off, and ended up being Miss USA. And then they meet at a Turning Point event in 2018, where she's interviewing for a job for Turning Point.
They showed the photo of that kid, or the guy that they have, the 22-year-old, and I was almost going to be like, dude, you think he's got the capability to do that?
Yeah, well, listen, there are ways to spell that. Okay. 200 yards from a prone position with a dead-on rifle. You set this rifle, you set your 0 to 200 yards, right? You know how far you're going to. It is not hard at all.
It started with a man screaming from the crowd, "I did it! I did it!" Then, out of nowhere, he strips his pants off in front of everyone. But here's the twist. That man wasn't the shooter. He wasn't even a suspect. Moments later, he's arrested, not for the assassination, but for disturbing charges that would make most people shudder. And just like that, this case stops being about one man, one gun, or one motive, because now all eyes are on the people who were never supposed to be there in the first place. The event spirals into chaos, and what started as a political tragedy starts to look like a Hollywood thriller with way too many loose ends. Joe Rogan is talking, Elon Musk is tweeting, Candace Owens is naming names, and somehow this all leads back to a beauty queen, a pageant owned by Trump, a rifle with no serial number, and a crowd full of men who all claimed to be the killer. So what exactly happened to Charlie Kirk? Who stood to gain from his silence? And why are the people closest to him now the ones raising the most questions? Let's rewind, because the official story doesn't even begin to make sense. Charlie Kirk's death was reported as a politically motivated shooting carried out by a 22-year-old loner named Tyler Robinson. Just another tragic story in a country used to headlines like this. But almost immediately, nothing about it felt right. According to authorities, Tyler had no military background, no criminal record, no sniper training, yet somehow he managed to access a rooftop with no reported surveillance oversight, position himself perfectly, and fire a precision shot into one of the most politically charged figures in modern America, in broad daylight, at a high-security event. That would be odd enough. But then comes the weapon. The rifle found near the scene was described as an old family heirloom, allegedly belonging to his grandfather from World War II. Yet photos circulating online showed something much different, a weapon that looked sleek, modern, and well-maintained, not rusted, not worn, not anything like you'd expect from an antique. Even Joe Rogan couldn't hide his suspicion. He said he almost texted someone when he saw the story because it just didn't feel right. The guy looked like he had no idea what he was doing. Security experts questioned how Tyler got access to the roof in the first place. Was there no surveillance, no drones, no patrols? No one noticed a man scaling a building in broad daylight with a scoped rifle in his backpack? But it gets worse, because Tyler supposedly jumped down 14 feet from the rooftop after the shooting, then somehow vanished for several hours before being apprehended. None of it adds up. None of it tracks. And then came the yelling man. As chaos unfolded, another man stood out, not because he pulled the trigger, but because of what he screamed right after. "I did it! I did it!" Then, bizarrely, He began removing his clothes. Security tackled him, arrested him, and charged him, not for the shooting, but for entirely unrelated criminal offenses. Specifically disturbing charges involving children, charges that ensured he'd be locked away and legally untouchable for questioning. But who was this man? Internet sleuths quickly uncovered that this wasn't just some random bystander. He had a track record, and a terrifying one. He had been present at multiple mass casualty events over the last 20 years, including the September 11th attacks, the Boston Marathon bombing, and even a bomb threat hoax at a federal courthouse. Same man, same face, same pattern. People began to ask, how does one individual end up at 3 national tragedies and now this? Statistically, it's impossible. A few theorists ran the numbers through AI models like ChatGPT and Perplexity, and the estimated odds of a random citizen being present at all those incidents was effectively 0. So if it wasn't a coincidence, then what was it? A decoy? A planted distraction? A misdirection to confuse the public while the real plot unfolded behind the scenes? And why did the moment he shouted, "I did it," he was immediately booked for child-related charges, effectively gagging him from speaking publicly? Rogan's fans called it professionally insane. Not unhinged, not unstable, but calculated, controlled, and executed for a reason. But that wasn't even the weirdest part, because while the internet was unraveling that mystery, Elon Musk quietly dropped a bomb of his own. Just as the clip of Rogan questioning the official story began circulating online, Elon Musk, the most influential voice on Twitter, posted something that turned a weird case into a firestorm. He didn't mention names, he didn't even post a video, just a sentence. "The truth doesn't hide forever." That was it. But it was enough because users quickly realized Musk had liked a string of tweets by Candace Owens. Tweets claiming that Charlie's death wasn't random and that media outlets were covering up the real story. Within hours, hashtags like #JusticeForCharlie and Erica Kirk Exposed started trending. People began stitching together clips, pointing out inconsistencies in Erica Kirk's behavior, Charlie's widow, and her alleged ties to powerful political donors. Photos of her surfaced from old beauty pageants, political fundraisers, and events hosted by Turning Point USA, the very organization Charlie led. Then came the Trump connection. What most people didn't know was this. Erica Kirk, Erica Lane, was Miss Arizona USA in 2012. That wouldn't mean much, except that Donald Trump ran the Miss Universe organization from 1996 until 2015. And guess who built the Trump Tower where it was headquartered? Charlie's father, Robert W. Kirk. That's right. The man who oversaw the architecture of Trump's most famous building had a son who later married one of Trump's beauty queens. A queen who, by her own admission, hated glamour, rarely wore makeup, and once shaved her head to avoid being too girly. So how does a sports-loving, low-profile girl suddenly win a pageant she never wanted to enter? How do she and Charlie meet? Not on a dating app, not at a church, but at a Turning Point event where she was interviewing for a job. It's all too neat, too connected, too perfectly staged. According to Owens, Erica's job interview turned into a whirlwind romance, followed by a highly publicized marriage, and eventually, a front-row seat to one of the most shocking political deaths in recent history. Some users claimed Erica's behavior after Charlie's death was performative. One commenter wrote, "She posted a video holding his hand in the hospital, hours after he was declared gone. Like, who does that?" Others noted the pyrotechnic-heavy memorial, complete with professional lighting and camera crews, felt more like a stage production than a moment of grief. And still, no clear answers, only more questions. But one thing became obvious. Charlie Kirk wasn't just another political influencer. He was connected to power, deeply, structurally, systemically. And when he started asking questions about Israel, Epstein, and foreign funding, his days were apparently numbered. The moment photos of the rifle were released, experts and casual observers alike said the same thing. That's not a World War II relic. From the start, the story was that Tyler Robinson used his grandfather's old bolt-action rifle, supposedly a gun with no serial number, handed down through generations, nothing fancy, just functional. But when images of the weapon surfaced online, something was off. The wood grain was too perfect. The body looked clean, polished, modern. The scope? State of the art. Joe Rogan commented, "This looks like something you'd buy from a tactical store last week, not some relic from 1945. Even more bizarre, officials claimed Tyler had disassembled the rifle, snuck it into the building in a backpack, climbed to the roof unnoticed, reassembled it, and made a perfect shot from 200 yards. Gun experts quickly shut that down. Disassembling and reassembling a rifle with a scope, that's not something an untrained 22-year-old can do in minutes, especially without damaging the weapon's zero alignment, especially under pressure, especially on a rooftop with no cover. And the logistics just didn't make sense. How did the gun even fit into a standard backpack? Where's the surveillance footage? What about fingerprints? Why wasn't there a trail of gear, tools, or discarded packaging?" As Rogan put it, "It sounds like a movie, a bad one, the kind where they expect you not to ask any questions." But people did ask questions, and the answers, or lack thereof, only raised more red flags. Just when public interest was starting to wane, prosecutors released what they thought would shut everything down for good: a series of text messages allegedly sent by Tyler Robinson to his romantic partner. In them, he supposedly confesses to the crime. Full admission, no ambiguity. But instead of calming speculation, the messages lit the fire all over again. The texts read like a novel, not just any novel, a badly written script. No typos, no slang, no abbreviations, just perfect punctuation, dramatic pacing, and oddly formal confessions like, "I'm sorry, it had to be done. You'll understand one day." People weren't buying it. Influencers and skeptics alike began analyzing the messages, zooming in, scanning line by line. They noticed something strange: ellipses floating above the message boxes, evidence that the screenshots had been cropped or stitched together from different conversations. One user posted side-by-side comparisons of texting habits from Tyler's social media posts. The tone doesn't match. The guy typed like every other Gen Z, short, slang-heavy with emojis. These texts? They sound like they were written by a prosecutor. Even Steve Bannon chimed in, calling the messages too neat, too structured, and clearly written for someone else's benefit. If this was truly the confession, why did it feel like a PR statement? And if the messages were edited or fake, who created them? Just when the gun and the texts made the official narrative feel shaky, another detail came to light, one that erased any illusion of trust. Charlie Kirk's event was heavily recorded. There were cameras on stage, behind the crowd, and even installed by the Turning Point crew for a documentary-style live stream. Multiple angles, multiple feeds. Yet after the shooting, those memory cards disappeared. Gone. All of them. Pulled from the cameras before they could be collected by law enforcement. Who took them? Nobody knows, and nobody in the organization seems eager to explain it. The only footage that survived came from phones. Shaky, incomplete, and mostly useless. But one frame stood out. Just seconds before the shot was fired, a man wearing a beige baseball cap can be seen touching the brim of his hat, twice, before disappearing into the crowd. To some, it looked like a signal, a countdown, a code. Others dismissed it as coincidence. But why would someone leave immediately after the signal and before the chaos erupted? Internet sleuths zoomed in, enhanced the footage, and started sharing stills. No one could identify him. No name, no credentials, no response from Turning Point, the police, or event security. It was a ghost. So now we had a mystery rifle, a rooftop nobody saw him climb, a confession no one believed, and now missing evidence on top of it all. Then came the final straw. According to Candace Owens, Charlie Kirk wasn't taken out because of who he supported. He was taken out because of who he stopped supporting. In a live stream that's since been reposted hundreds of times, Owens made a jaw-dropping claim. Charlie was under enormous pressure from major donors and foreign political allies to support a specific narrative about U.S.-Israel relations. And when he didn't play ball, the walls closed in. She described how Charlie had been invited to Israel by none other than Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. On paper, it was framed as a diplomatic visit. Behind closed doors, Owens claimed it was more of a re-education trip, a chance to reshape Charlie's views, to bring him back in line. And it wasn't just a vacation offer. I know Charlie was offered a ton of money, Owens said. Bibi would have funded it all. Massive checks. He said no. Owens, too, had faced similar pressure. She said that when she started questioning Israel's actions and foreign policy, she was invited elsewhere, in her words, as a warning, a carrot-and-stick approach. As Charlie became more outspoken, refusing to censor debates, inviting controversial guests like Tucker Carlson and Dave Smith, the backlash intensified. Some of the donors even pulled out, threatening to cut funding to Turning Point USA unless he silenced those voices. In a leaked group chat, Charlie allegedly wrote, "Jewish donors play into all the stereotypes. I cannot and will not be bullied like this, leaving me no choice but to leave the pro-Israel cause." That message was sent 48 hours before he was killed. Candace said there were others present, people who saw it go down. Seth Dillon, Bill Ackman, even close Turning Point executives. But when she reached out for comments, most stayed silent. Seth didn't reply. Bill Ackman posted a tribute, calling Charlie a giant of a man, but said nothing about the alleged confrontation. So was Charlie Kirk assassinated for his views on Israel? Was his death used to send a message to others in his circle? If this had just been a tragedy, it would have ended in grief. But it didn't. It escalated. People shut up. Evidence vanished. And silence became the loudest clue of all. The story was already strange, and then Candace Owens dropped the biggest allegation of all. Charlie Kirk was ambushed in the Hamptons, not physically, but ideologically. According to Owens, this wasn't just a quiet dinner. It was a full-blown intervention, staged by major donors and conservative power players who didn't like the direction Charlie was heading. A meeting where he was cornered, lectured, and, some say, threatened. The goal? Get Charlie back in line, back to towing the line on Israel, back to silencing controversial voices like Tucker Carlson and Dave Smith. Owens claims one of the lead voices in the room was Bill Ackman, a longtime supporter and donor. She says he was furious, that Charlie's refusal to obey had put the movement at risk, that if he didn't fall in line, there would be consequences. And here's where things got even more chilling. Owens reached out to Seth Dillon, another figure purportedly present at the meeting. She sent him the tweets, the leaked messages, and directly asked for a statement. He didn't reply. Then she followed up. Again, nothing. And again. She didn't want to go public with the messages, but she did. Because, in her words, "My friend was shot in the neck. I'm not in the state of mind to be polite anymore." According to Candace, Charlie tried to stand firm. He told those in the room that he wouldn't censor debate, that he wouldn't betray his values, that no amount of money would convince him to rewrite the narrative. By the end of the meeting, a call had reportedly been made to Netanyahu's office. Charlie was invited to visit Israel. Again. But he refused. and within days, he was gone. Owens dared Bill Ackman to go public and deny it. He didn't. In fact, when asked to produce receipts, he claimed he had them but showed nothing. The silence was deafening. After Charlie's death, his widow Erica became the unexpected center of the spotlight, and not in the way most would expect. From the moment she posted a hospital room video to Instagram, holding his lifeless hand and whispering, "I love you," repeatedly, something felt off. It wasn't grief that people saw, it was performance. Then came the memorial, not a quiet vigil, not a somber reflection, but a stage show, complete with pyrotechnics, music, lighting rigs, and high-production camera crews, just 7 days after his death. She didn't seem like someone mourning, one Reddit user wrote. She seemed like someone starring in her own reality show. And then the floodgates opened. People dug through Erica's past, her pageant history, her media appearances, her carefully crafted public persona. Everything felt curated, like an image built for attention, not authenticity. But others weren't so quick to blame her. They said she was a pawn, controlled by Turning Point, pushed into the spotlight to control the narrative. Maybe she was grieving. Maybe she was shocked. Maybe she was just doing what she was told. One commenter wrote, "The whole memorial felt fake, but I don't think she's the villain. I think they're using her. She probably doesn't even realize it." Still, the questions remained. Why was the memorial so over the top? Why was Erica so quick to reclaim the narrative and then go silent when key facts surfaced? And if she wasn't complicit, why was her name being whispered behind the scenes? And just when people thought it was over, new information from prosecutors reopened everything. The Utah District Attorney's Office finally dropped what they thought would end the speculation once and for all: text messages from Tyler Robinson, the alleged shooter. But instead of closure, the release sparked a new storm. Influencers, researchers, and even cybersecurity experts began dissecting the texts. Many said they didn't feel authentic, too polished, too articulate, too artificial. The language didn't match Tyler's known texting style. The timestamps were missing. Key phrases seemed oddly placed, like fragments pulled from another conversation. Some claimed the messages were AI-generated. Others said they were selectively edited to fit a narrative. And still, no answers on the missing SD cards, no explanation for the man touching his hat, no response from Turning Point USA on how their security failed so badly. But the most chilling part? Even as people dug deeper, the media refused to touch the real questions. Networks either ignored the inconsistencies or dismissed the theories as baseless conspiracies. All while Elon Musk kept liking tweets about the story. All while Joe Rogan openly said the narrative wouldn't pass as believable in a bad movie. All while Candace Owens doubled down on her claims. What do you think really happened? Was Charlie silenced for political reasons? Was this a message to others in his circle? Or was it something even deeper, a coordinated effort to erase someone who got too close to the truth? Let us know what you believe in the comments below, because the truth doesn't stay buried forever.